You're about to experience a message from here at South Lake Church where we
engage, grow, and share.
So make sure to subscribe below and keep watching together as we engage, grow, share Jesus in our community relationships. My name is Pastor Rob Bailey here from South Lake Church, and as we continue through stories, just an update of all that's happening here at South Lake. This Tuesday night, we continue watching The Chosen together, a chance where we gather at a house and just watch the story of Jesus. We love for you to be a part of that. Wednesdays, we have our Wednesday morning recap breakfast over at Kelly's, so if you got questions from the message, great way to, in the middle of the week, to start your day and come together and ask those questions with a whole bunch of other people. Wednesday nights, we have our Discovering South Lake Bible Study. You can join us on Facebook, on YouTube, in just about a half hour, just being together, being in God's Word, but seeing how South Lake, how we together are a part of this. And in fact, this week, there's choir practicing this week. There's also choir practice this Wednesday, because in 2 weeks, or technically 3 weeks, we'll have choir up here again as we continue as the South Lake together to sing and worship with one another. This Thursday, we have our Thursday luncheon, a chance if you were looking to have some gathering with others to eat lunch with one another this Thursday. Friday's our men's gathering, which will give an update on which house for sure today. At Gary's? Yeah! See? That's how you get volunteerism at a church right there. Just call the person out in the middle of the church, and now everybody's eyes just drop down like, I hope he doesn't call on me. And then, of course, Saturdays we have Immerse, and we're going to continue through with the stories. So join us for all those things happening. But I'm going to bring up again at the end of the message, we have a way for you to learn more about how God is using you in your life. We have an assessment to help understand your gifts. So we'd love for you to take that and learn how you can be a part and serve in this way. But also February 20th, 5 to 7 p.m., it's a Sunday evening, we'll have dinner. We're going to learn to tell stories, your own story. So we'd love for you to join us for that. It's free of charge, and it's a way to learn how you can talk with other people, your family, but also share how God is using you in your life. So join us February 20th. So as we continue through stories, we're making a shift now. We've been looking at the Old Testament, how God has been using people for His purpose throughout the world. And now we're moving to the New Testament, where He comes to be with His people, dwells with them with Jesus. And the people around Jesus are used to continue to share that story. Now, the person we're reading about today has a nickname. Does anybody know the nickname of the person that we're reading about? Doubting Thomas. And boy, is that a sad nickname for this person. And the reason why is when we think of the name Doubting Thomas, we think of somebody who's a doubter. We're going to learn more about who Thomas is, but that word doubt, I've been thinking about this week and the struggle with this word. If I think about it, what other word or way to describe a mindset, a lens in how we look at the world that is so critical and even leads to fear about doing other things? And when I talk about the word doubt, it's important to separate that from something else. Cynicism, which I think I have a healthy dose of. I know Paredes does. So does Rick. I see you over there. It's important that being skeptical, and when you hear things from people, to ask questions, to not just believe it, but to find out more, is a good thing. In fact, we have a spiritual gift called discernment. Taking time to seek God, to figure out what you're hearing. Is it true? Is this something you should listen to and follow? But doubt is not those things. Doubt is what leads us to inaction. It leads to fear. I'm going to make an assumption here that for the majority of us, we've had doubt in our lives. Nobody needs to raise their hands. But think about that for a second. You can get doubt from the world, right? Because the world says anybody can be the president. If you watch the experiences, is that true? No. The world can make us feel this way. Can our friends make us feel like we doubt? Absolutely. In fact, let's face it, growing up in school, the more teasing and jokes and how people make fun of us kind of messes with our heart and our mind, doesn't it? Who else makes us doubt besides the people around us? Ourselves. And what happens is these voices get in our head that says, you can't do it. This can't happen. Don't enjoy this because it's about to fall apart. And for those like playing soccer, for example, you might need to make a good kick tackle. But you might doubt yourself that you might miss, you might hit the person, you might get a card thrown at you. And what ends up happening? You mess up. Well, how about you meet that somebody you're really interested in this girl or boy, and you want to talk to them. Thank you, Betsy, for the laughter there. And all of a sudden you doubt yourself to talk to them. Because in your mind, they're going to say no, they don't want to get to know me, they don't have any, there's a struggle there. Those doubts mess with your head and your heart. And as adults, not just those things, but think about it at your job. Those times where you need to speak up, talk about some new ideas, share with your boss. Does doubt sometimes creep in before you speak up? Yeah. And what happens is either you don't speak or you say it with such, you're so scared that it comes across like you don't even trust yourself. Doubt is a scary thing. And I think the biggest thing is we're going to see here with Thomas, it robs us of having joy. So let's look at Thomas. This is from John chapter 20. We have one of Jesus' disciples. This is one of his 12, the group of people who followed Jesus over 3 years. Yes, there's Peter, there's John, there's James, but within those 12 people, those men and the women who were with them, which we'll talk about that next week, these were the top leaders to share and be with Jesus, his big disciples. And imagine Thomas in this situation and the disciples. You have your teacher, Jesus, who's been with you for 3 years. He's done miracles. He's healed people. He's called out how the religious groups have misused the writings of Torah for their own needs instead of what God is doing in their lives. He's watched both Jews and Gentiles join their group of people. Imagine being Thomas. I mean, for us, we'd be like, I wish I could be at where he was to be at the feet of Jesus. But what happens? Jesus dies. And not just dies, there's a big parade. He's taken out to what's considered the dumpster of the area. He's crucified, he's naked, he's whipped, he's stabbed with a spear. All those miracles, all those healings, all those teachings, gone. I don't know about you, but feeling doubt and despair are some words that come to my mind. And imagine being walking around now because there are people searching for his disciples. And again, it's really easy when you're part of a large group of people to be a disciple, but when you're considered one of the 12, people know who you are. There's fear. So as Thomas is walking around in his life, as he's going about trying to figure out what to do next, some of his brothers gather together, and guess who shows up? Jesus. And then Sunday evening, the disciples were meeting behind a locked door because they were afraid of the Jewish leaders. And suddenly Jesus was standing among them. "Peace be with you," he said. And as he spoke, he showed them his wounds, his hands, and his side. So what's happening here is as his buddies are grouped together in fear like he is, Jesus shows up. And there's a really important phrase here. When Jesus appears to him, what does he say? Peace be be with you. Whenever Jesus appears going forward, whenever an angel of the Lord shares with other people, one of the first things they say is, peace be with you. Can you imagine what they would be thinking when they saw Jesus as the disciples? There's probably a few words I probably shouldn't share over a live stream right now in church that you would probably say seeing Jesus come back to life. I think fear and excitement both would go hand in hand. So what does Jesus say? Peace. I'm here with you. And this is a really important next thing that Jesus does, is he tells them, touch my hands and my side. This is not a vision or a dream. This is the person, Jesus, with them. And what's really cool, Jesus gives them instruction here. He says he breathes on them the Holy Spirit, and he says these words, if you forgive anyone's sins, they are forgiven. If you do not forgive them, they are not forgiven. What he's sharing with them now that you have the Spirit of God with you, and as you go with people and say that they are forgiven and share that good news, guess what? They are. Why? Because I do exist. I am alive. And the Spirit is with you. This is some awesome stuff. But who's missing out? Thomas. So let's go back to Thomas's story. So Thomas is walking around. He's scared. He doesn't know what to do. And his friends now are full, would you say joy might be a word? Because who they've seen? Jesus. And they go up to him. Thomas, guess what? He's back. We've seen him. We've touched him. In fact, he's told us, go and tell others. Share, forgive. Like everything that he told us for 3 years happened. They had joy. And what was Thomas's response? Yeah, Simon, you're doing a great impression. No way. You guys are full of it. You guys had too much to drink. You guys might have, been hallucinating. There's no way Jesus is back. As they bring joy to Thomas, his doubt rips it away. So what happens? Well, another night, as we keep reading. 8 days later, the disciples were together again, and this time Thomas was with them. The doors were locked, and suddenly, as before, Jesus was standing among them. And again, what's the phrase that Jesus says? Peace be with you. The reason why it's so important, I'm picking this up, especially for the life of Thomas, as you're experiencing all this craziness, a lot of emotions, the first thing that God cares more than anything else for you is that you have peace. It's going to be okay. So Jesus lets him know, peace be with you. And I can tell you right now, I'm guessing in Thomas's words, on his mind, he's speechless. He can't believe what his friends told him a week ago is true. But I think there's something else. There's some fear now. Why do you think there would be fear for Thomas? Because he doubted. He didn't believe his teacher. And before we read the words of what Jesus says, it's important because a lot of times when we read about Jesus, think about Jesus, we feel like we know what Jesus would say. Well, I have a feeling I know what Thomas and disciples are expecting for Jesus to say, and it's not, I love you, Thomas. See, throughout the ministry of Jesus' ministry, when he would go into towns, when he would heal and talk with people, there were doubters. His hometown, a town where Peter stayed at, Capernaum. And so, you know what Jesus did to those doubters? He didn't say, I love you, I hope you figure it out. Curse upon you. In fact, Sodom and Gomorrah are better off than you all are because you saw what was happening and you still doubted. Those are the words of Jesus. So Thomas, knowing Jesus has said that, I bet he's thinking this, and I bet the disciples are thinking this like, told you so, you're going to get it. But instead, what does Jesus do? He doesn't get mad at his doubt. He doesn't tell him, how dare you of little faith? How could you not believe me? Instead, he says this, peace be with you. And then he said to Thomas, put your finger here and look at my hands. Put your hand on my wound on my side. Don't be faithless any longer. Believe. In some famous words of Thomas, which we don't hear a lot of disciples say this, but Thomas does. My Lord and my God, Thomas explained. And then Jesus told him this, you believe because you've seen. Blessed are those who believe without seeing me. With somebody who saw the works of Jesus and who he was, Thomas still doubted. And yet when Jesus came to be with them, the first thing he said was, peace on your heart. Peace be with you. And he welcomed him still as a brother. I share this with you because that's the story of God with all of his people, not just Thomas. That there is a world that doubts, there's a world that is aggravated with what God has done. For some to try to believe in him, it's hard. And God sent his people to live out, to share that love. And guess what happened? They messed it up. It's pretty easy to doubt who God is when you see that happen. So what he do? He came to be with his people. He lived with them. As Thomas and them saw him, be with them, heal them. He died for them. So no matter the doubts, the hurts, the fears, the struggles in that faith, we see a risen Lord who says, peace be with you. Now the cool part is that the story of Thomas doesn't stay here. Not in the Bible, but church tradition shares with us that Thomas, the doubter, would go on to share his good news, his relationship with God, all the way out to India. So I have a question, just thinking about that, is what takes somebody to say that the idea that my teacher is dead, there's no way he could be alive, that he would travel thousands of miles so others could experience that relationship with that person? Church tradition will say that he will die from a tribe upset that he was sharing Jesus. The only thing that can explain, which makes sense, is either Thomas was hallucinating, like everybody else, or Jesus rose from the grave. And he could not, no matter how much doubt he had, not share that good news. At Southlake, we gather together because we engage, grow, and share Jesus. At the end of the day, everything we do deals with our relationship with him. A risen Lord, a Lord who loves us, who gave his life for us. There are doubts in our lives because I doubt. I struggle. But as we read about Thomas, I know I have a Lord who loves me, who gave his life for me, who says, peace be with you. And the cool thing, as us together, we get to help others experience it too. And it's not just here on Sundays or those watching online. It happens throughout the week. The different gatherings that we do at Southlake are ways to help others experience it. And a lot of them are made so that way people who doubt or have questions can come experience it in an easy and friendly way. But one thing I've learned is that there's more than one way to share our word and be with others. So my challenge for you as you're hearing this and thinking, what are ways to help yourself or help others experience and get through that doubt? Maybe there's other ways that we can gather together that we're not doing right now. My encouragement is that there's joy and excitement about helping others experience it. Allow us as Southlake help you make that happen. To gather and experience this Lord who says, peace be with you. As we close up here, a reminder that as Southlake take our assessment, I encourage you to learn how God is using you through this, to be a part of this and experience this joy. Join us February 20th to help learn how to share your story. Help people experience that joy, especially when there's doubt. But to know if you are doubting and you're watching this right now, it's okay. Why? Because we have a God who loves us and gave his life for you. That's the Lord who I worship. That's the Lord I come for all of us together. That's why I'm excited to share our stories. Amen? Join me in prayer. Thank you so much for taking time to experience a message here at Southlake. If you have time, make sure to subscribe right over here, but also check out other videos that are down right over here. Again, the Lord bless you this week, and thank you for checking out Southlake Church, where we
engage, grow, and share.